Now, let's take a look at him.
Welcome back to Game Gentlemen. This week we look at 5 things we learned from the Resident Evil showcase and 5 questions we still need answered. Ethan Everyman. As we've known from the initial trailer revealed during the PlayStation showcase, players will once again fill the shoes of Everyman Ethan Winters. However, where Ethan was your average Joe who happened to stumble into a world of hillbilly murder families and mold monsters in Resident Evil 7, he seems to be much more of a person of note, with several characters in the trailer addressing Ethan by name and noting anyone who's anyone has heard of the likes of you. From the trailer snippets between the events of Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil Village, Ethan and Mia appear to have settled down and had a child together. But the events that unfolded to bring them back together are understandably haunting their happy family existence. Chris, what are you doing? It's been teased throughout the trailers of Resident Evil Village that fan favourite character Chris Redfield would be back in the game, taking on somewhat of a more antagonistic role than we're used to seeing. We've only seen flashes of Chris in the trailers thus far, but it appears from the latest images in the showcase that he is, at least in part, responsible for taking Ethan's child. Where and to what end, we'll have to wait and see. It's a lot more like Resident Evil 4 than we expected. Although Resident Evil Village will be set in the first-person perspective like its predecessor, and has been developed in the RE engine, we can see from the showcase that there are many elements which follow Resident Evil 4 more than the recent entries in the franchise. Aside from the obvious connection of a remote, possibly foreign village and castle setting, we also have the mechanic of a merchant, this time known as the Duke, offering the player items, weapons and upgrades throughout the game, and an inventory management system characterised in an attaché case, much like Resi 4, with players needing to manage and arrange their inventory in a Tetris-like manner to balance firepower, healing, and available space. The game also seems to balance the slow survival horror elements of the first few titles, which was revived in Resident Evil 7, with the more action-oriented elements of 4, 5, and 6. Here's hoping they stay much closer to 4 than they do to 6. But where is the Resident Evil 4 remake? One of the most persistent rumours leading up to the showcase event was that we were going to see an announcement for the remake of Resident Evil 4 in the modern RE engine, similar to the recent efforts of Resident Evil 2 and 3. While Resident Evil 4 was a turning point in the franchise, ditching the tank controls, pre-rendered backgrounds and weird camera angles for an over-the-shoulder perspective and more action-oriented gameplay, it has been ported to almost as many consoles as Skyrim at this point. An article from Video Game Chronicle reports the reason we did not see anything in this showcase may have come from the fact that development of the title has effectively seen a production overhaul after a key project review. So, it may be some time before we hear anything concrete on RE4. If you're enjoying this video, why don't you hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. RE-verse multiplayer. One big announcement outside of Resident Evil Village we saw in the showcase was Capcom's next attempt at a multiplayer in the Resident Evil franchise with RE-verse. A competitive multiplayer mode which pits franchise favourites such as Leon, Ada, Claire and Chris against one another in what appears to be an everyman for themselves deathmatch. Animated in a comic book cel-shaded style, we see several major monsters from the franchise such as Mr. X and Nemesis, with players appearing to transform after being killed, which may mean that you're given a second chance within each match by taking on one of these forms and enacting your revenge on the player who took you down. A closed beta has been set for next week, with the multiplayer title releasing along with Resident Evil Village, much like Project Resistance was released alongside the Resident Evil 3 remake. But what about VR? One thing not covered in the showcase was whether Resident Evil Village will have PSVR support. One of the key features of Resident Evil 7, and one of the benefits of it being in first-person perspective, was the ability for the game to be adapted for the PlayStation VR headset. This benefited both the game, bringing yet another way to experience and immerse players in the title, and PSVR, bringing a flagship franchise and killer app to the VR ecosystem. It's much more paranormal than usual. While a lab-created zombie outbreak is certainly not an everyday occurrence, it could be argued that it is more feasible and grounded in reality than werewolves, witches, and vampires, which is exactly what we've seen in the trailers for Resident Evil Village so far. We've already seen both the werewolves and female antagonists in previous trailers, but the latest trailer and gameplay reveal has shown us more of these abnormal adversaries, with players fighting werewolves in a huge pack, including one giant sledgehammer-wielding mega werewolf, emaciated basement-dwelling creatures, and a glimpse of what to expect of the daughters of Lady Dumitrescu, with allusions to vampirism and shapeshifting into a swarm of insects. But who is Heisenberg?
Say my name. Heisenberg. Goddamn right.
During the showcase, we see Lady Dumitrescu speak with someone called Mother Miranda, who appears to be pulling the strings and is likely to be the game's real big bad. In this scene, she mentions that Ethan has escaped Heisenberg and is causing trouble for her and her daughters in the castle. So we must assume that there will be another area for you to survive before you make it up there. In another scene, she mentions that Ethan escaped her idiot little brother's games. Is she referring again to this mysterious Heisenberg, or is this alluding to a much deeper connection in the franchise, suggesting that she was related to the Baker family? We don't know exactly where this village is, although Dumitrescu is Romanian in origin, so this may be a pretty tenuous connection to make. The Maiden Demo. PlayStation 5 players will be able to download an exclusive demo from the PlayStation Store right now. The demo is separate to the action of the main game, and players will take control of a character known only as the Maiden. Players must try to flee the confines of the castle and avoid being caught by one of the daughters of Lady Dumitrescu. Much like the kitchen demo for Resident Evil 7, this demo is moody and detailed, and we're sure over time dozens of Easter eggs for the main title will be discovered. A broader demo for all platforms will also be released in the coming months. It will be interesting to see whether Capcom will do the same kind of one-shot demo that they did with both Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 remakes. So when is it coming, and where can I play it? During the showcase, the release date of May 7th, 2021 was announced, along with a number of different pre-order bonuses and special editions. Additionally, it was confirmed that this game will be cross-platform, with players who purchase the PS4 version being able to upgrade to PS5 for free, and players on Xbox being able to play across generations thanks to smart delivery. So that's our list of 5 things we learned from the Resident Evil showcase, and 5 questions we still need answered. Are you excited for Resident Evil Village? Will you be playing the PS5 Maiden Demo? Let us know in the comments below. As always, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share with that friend who is obsessed with Resident Evil. This has been Game Gentleman, and thanks for watching.